I'm going to take you down a little rabbit hole of strings and cords. When I got into backpacking, no surprise, paracord was often what people were suggesting to use for various different things. And paracord has an outer sheath and an inner core, although they're typically the same material, nylon, and it holds about 550 pounds. And that's great. And then when I got into rock climbing, I started finding more and more ropes that were using Dyneema. Dyneema is ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. Sometimes it goes by the brand name Spectra. Sometimes it goes by the brand name Dyneema. The one problem though is when you melt it, you get this mushrooming effect at the end because it kind of grows as you get it hot. So that's not ideal. Sometimes this little end actually gets stuck in a knot that you're trying to untie. And the thing that I really dislike about pure Dyneema like this is that it's very slippery, and so it doesn't hold knots. Well, it holds knots fine, but it's very difficult to untie a knot that's been loaded. So if you, even something like a bowline, which is designed to not jam, if you load a bowline, the slipperiness of this allows the knot to get so tight, it's very difficult to remove without pliers. And as you kind of pick at this surface with pliers, it kind of shreds and frays. And so I'm not a big fan of this. I know some hammockers are, but those hammockers are not using knots. They're using hardware to get adjustment and attachment. And I like using knots because it saves complexity, it saves weight, and I would rather develop a skill set of knots than just having fancy carabiners. Anyhow, so I own this Hennessy Hammock Backpacker hammock, and he has these cords on here. I think he claims that they have a Spectra core, and which is ultra high molecular weight polyethylene, and he claims that they hold about 1,200 pounds. And I've been looking all over to find where I could buy these in bulk. So paracord is around 4.5 millimeters, something like that, and these are a little bit smaller than that. And he claims that these hold, I think, 1,200 or 1,300, 1,400 pounds, something like that. Anyway, so I searched and searched and searched, it seemed like for months, and I finally came across from a website called West Marine this stuff. And they use it, I think they call it dinghy line. And in the yachting industry, where, people have a lot of money, I guess, they've developed this. Anyhow, this is a smaller diameter, almost 3 mil. So it's smaller than paracord and lighter weight. And it's lighter weight because it's a polyester sheath, but it has a Dyneema core or a Spectra core, high molecular weight polyethylene core. And so it's extremely strong. So I hammock off of a single strand many, many, many times. No problems. I've bounced and jounced and never had any problem. And what's nice about this is that it will take a knot easily, just like paracord, and it doesn't jam over time, and it basically unties just like paracord would. So the sort of the dexterity and the usability is super good. The one main issue with these is finishing the ends. So when you cut it, you get the polyester outside and you get the Dyneema core. And if you try and just burn this, there's kind of two problems. The first is that you get a mushrooming effect, and you get it more on the core than the exterior sheath. And that's because this Dyneema basically swells quite a bit when you get it hot. The second problem that you get is the core does not seal itself to the sheath like it would on paracord. And so that can be annoying. A lot of your cords can end up looking like that, which may or may not be functional, but it's very annoying. The problem with that mushroom effect is sometimes when you're trying to pull a strand, through an old knot. This is a bad example, but it can kind of get hung up. It kind of acts like a little hook. And so I had made a video where I had found a method that I liked, which was to basically heat up an X-Acto knife and cut through all in one motion. And it works pretty good. Some people have recommended using super glue. I've tried that. Not a huge fan. It's messy. You don't have it with you. And sometimes it can soak in and make the end quite stiff, which is not always good when you're trying to pull a knot through. But I've recently discovered a new method, which I'll share. Credit to where credit's due. I learned it from hownotto.com. They sell climbing gear, and they sell this special Technora core 6mm cord, 5mm cord, and I learned this method from him. So again, credit where credit's due. So what you do is you cut your cord to length, and then you separate the core from the sheath like this a little bit, about a 1/2 inch maybe. Then you cut that core. So now your sheath and your core are different lengths. And then you hold here and you kind of milk this thing like that, almost like snake skin, so that now at the end you only have sheath and the core is back, like let's say a 1/2 inch. Then you take a heat source. I'm just gonna, I guess it's off camera, I'll do it here. You take a heat source. This is overkill, but and you can get for yourself a very tidy, clean, smooth running end. Now, some of you may think this is ridiculous and unnecessary. However, if you backpack in cold weather and you're taking down your hammock first thing in the morning below freezing and your hands are cold or you have gloves, that mushrooming effect at the end can really give you trouble. And if you're in an emergency situation and you need to move quickly, then you'd be surprised how a small thing like that can cause trouble. So anyhow, it's a nice method. All you really need is a lighter and a knife. You don't need any super glue. You don't need anything special. And it's extremely effective. And you really don't need any strength from the core in this last little inch or 1/2 inch of your tail, because that's never doing anything anyway. So anyway, I had recommended the hot knife method. I think this one is far superior, and I wanted to update and share it. I'm going to leave up the video to the other method, and I'm just going to link to this one saying that there's an update. Because some people might still prefer the hot method for various reasons. Perhaps it's faster if you have a hot knife going, you just cut, 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 cut. But I think this is better in a variety of ways, so I wanted to update. I've been using this for about the last 4 or 5 months, and as far as I'm concerned, it's superior in every way. Hope it helped you. Take care.